Welcome to Hotline FN, the live call-in show for your hot takes, bold predictions, and unpopular opinions surrounding the competitive Fortnite scene. Oh, that's a mouthful, but I'm never shortening it. We have a very, very special episode. It's our first time ever doing something, and it's kind of special for Dreamhack Anaheim. We've got our live correspondents on the field. I had adjectives for these guys. The most vivacious, voluble Ballatw and Shyowager, and more importantly, even than those two, just kidding, everyone's equally important in my eyes, we have the incredible competitive Fortnite pundit, if you will, Leven 2K. Let's bring them out here. Hey everybody, we got a whole party in here.
Brah, 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 brah. I can't believe what we're doing right now. This is the most scuffed Hotline FN setup I think we've ever done, but it's like high tech too. We got a DSLR camera, we got a mic, we got a mixer in a hotel room, 2 casters, 1 Hotline FN.
you guys are.
This real quick. I think it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you guys look good. You sound good. I want to point out that the only reason I'm wearing this jacket, and now I'm going to take it off, is because I had to make sure I was going to show up Shyo on the flowers and animals side of things. So I feel like I've accomplished that.
You succeeded.
I'm wearing flowers on palm trees, man. Like,
dude,
this is
my jacket has goddamn Zaboomafoo's on it.
What the hell is a Zaboomafoo?
Okay, true. You do trump that up. You do trump that up.
Zaboomafoo, you know.
Can you explain what is a Zaboomafoo?
Yeah. It was a kid's show. He was a lemur in a kid's show. You kidding me, Balla? What are you? Some kind of boomer?
No.
Don't know about kids shows?
I guess.
Whoa. Slow down, buddy. Okay.
All right.
I'm the most qualified kid here. I don't know what that is.
Before we get rolling on official introductions here, let me remind everybody how this show works. If you're in Ballaw's chat, come over to my chat. Balla might have a link, actually. ! Hotline FN, or wherever you're watching right now. That will get you a link to the Discord where we take your calls. So please bring your takes, hot takes, bold predictions, unpopular opinions. Not questions, not boring statements. We want to hear what you think, and we want to talk with you about it. God. Oh, this is going to be a problem. We're going to have to separate you two so fast. All right, Balla, it's been only a week. I feel like we were at this yesterday, to be honest. What have you been up to, man? What's been happening in the Balla world?
I flew to California, basically, and that's it. No, I got back to some VOD reviews. Have been pretty fun. Just some chill VOD reviews on stream. And besides that, I was just preparing for this. Like, I bought a bunch of equipment. Like, this stuff is all Shyo's, but tomorrow you'll see the kind of setup that we have. We bought like some wireless mics, some stick mics, stuff like that I'm using in the studio. It'd be legit. So that was basically that, and like writing up the plans and stuff. But then we flew to Anaheim. So I'm here now.
Hell yeah. Well, we're glad you're out there. Shyo, I mean, you were here last week. What have you done this last week? Mostly the same, or?
I mean, I flew to California, and that's it. Besides that, doing a few watch parties on stream. It's been a lot of fun. We actually went out to buy some equipment as well for this trip. We're coming here for Dreamhack. It's gonna be so cool. Have some stick mics that we have as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Fun.
Wow.
On that, just flew in today. That's pretty much about it.
Wow, you guys are like total twins, twinners out here. Speaking of winners, we've got the spaceman himself, Mr. Out of This World, Leven 2K. How are you doing? What have you been up to, man? What have you been up to the last couple of weeks? What do you got going on?
Well, I had to leave the Earth because after today's events, I didn't feel comfortable being on Earth anymore. So I'm here on space. My week was great. It was going great, right? I've been doing a bunch of streams. Been watching some events. 3-6 baby. Let's not talk too much about that. I know that's a hard thing for you guys to talk about. Unless you want to talk about that. But it's been great, man. Not been doing much. Just posting YouTube videos and more. So just chilling, bro.
Hell yeah.
So really you're on the moon because you're scared of what's going to happen at Anaheim this weekend.
Honestly.
But let's just say it's almost certainly going to be an NA winner this weekend. So.
Wes showing up, huh, Shyo? It's happening. You
guys think you're smart. You guys think you're smart. Yeah, you
can't
drew
spell
me out.
winner without NA.
Oh,
bro.
well.
Whoa, this is
You can't spell winner. You can't spell winner without NA, without NA education.
Look, you guys draw me out. It's late. You guys knew that at this time, all the EU, UK brothers, they wouldn't be here to support it. But some of them are still here.
True.
So be careful with all this EU slander.
Hey, half the UK brothers ain't flying out to Anaheim either, so.
Okay.
I mean, hell, dude, half the NA brothers ain't flying out to Anaheim either. What are you talking about?
That's it right there.
Where the real grinders at? I think Infamous tweeted about it earlier.
Our viewership is like mostly British anyways for whatever reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And OCE. Yeah.
Oh, that's
every NA player is like
too busy scrimming. Yeah, come on, because NA is grinders. Let's go.
Oh yeah. EU know nothing about that.
Yeah, EU know nothing about effective practice. Get off of me. Hell yeah. Well, all right. I'm super stoked to get in this episode. We've got obviously a ton. And what sucks is we don't have a lot to talk about very definitively because a lot of changes. Sorry for anyone listening. New season of Fortnite dropped today. Chapter 2, Season 2. No patch notes again. So that's very frustrating. All we have so far really is a lot of kind of like up in the air. I mean, it's tough, right? Like nothing's too definitive. Like what exactly do these different mechanics do? And there's a lot of them. From being able to throw consumables to, I don't know, like shaking down downed players. Like we're gonna get into this, right? So I'm stoked. I'm very stoked. Okay, we got callers rolling in. First impressions? Yeah, let's do some first impression. Man, Ballatw with the great ideas. Okay, Shyo.
I got a bold take. Guaranteed 100%, whatever the competitive mode is going to be, has to be a team mode. Because there's no knockdown state in solos.
Yep.
And that means you won't be able to shake people down. So why would they have that in the game if it's not going to be, in their most marketed type of thing, or their competitive setting? And why are you throwing minis to other solo players? Right.
That sounds like signaling to me. Throw them a mini for free passage.
Yeah. And it sucks we don't have an announcement right now. But like, with all the stuff in here, I feel like we're just waiting for hopefully some of it to be cut out from comp. You can say if it is or isn't. That's like, I hope it is. Optimistic about it. But definitely something coming soon, I hope.
Yeah, I think that to your point about team modes, right? I was oh man, I've already lost my train of thought before it even begun.
I mean, there's been evidence, right, about team modes in the past too. Like the Winter Royale blog, I like to bring up a lot. So I think we're with everything that's kind of pointing. This is kind of like very circumstantial and nothing directly about comp, but still kind of points that team modes are probably not going to be. Yeah. I mean, solo's not going to be a thing because why would they put all this stuff and then do something that they can't show off?
Or at least not the only thing, right? I mean, we've always had solos. I would be surprised if we didn't still have solos in some form, as far as that goes. But one thing, I was talking with somebody earlier today about how they announced World Cup on February 22nd. Today, the time of recording is February 20th, but the 22nd was a Friday immediately following the patch. So I'm still pretty optimistic that we'll get something tomorrow. We'll have a competitive update tomorrow. All with the head shake. You don't think so? You don't think it's happening?
Nah, I disagree as well.
Really? I mean, it's all speculation, but
I like the optimism, but my biggest thing is just like right now, if Epic announce World Cup tomorrow and it's like because we all expect World Cup to either be equally as big or bigger, right? Yeah. So let's say Epic were to come up tomorrow with like 50 mil World Cup. You think any of these guys are playing like the regular game? It's like they're playing solos or nah. Everyone's jumping into scrims. And I really, just the way Epic have been, like, I know they are a big fan of people like exploring the game, playing the game as much as they can to find out all these new things. And like, I feel like announcing a World Cup would like ruin the flow. I feel like people would be like, instead of right now, everyone's kind of focused on, oh gosh, like what does this mean for the game? Oh, these new things, these new POIs, all this, let's explore, shaking down Team Shadow versus Team Ghost. But like, it would turn more into, what's my landing spot? Let me scrim for 12 hours a day. And I don't think they want that right now.
I also just don't think like that would fit with kind of what they've done in the past, which has been, hey, we have something cool coming up. Especially last year with World Cup, it was, hey, we have World Cup coming. Hey, we have World Cup coming. More stuff coming soon. More stuff about the World Cup coming soon.
There was a trickle.
And then boom, here's everything. Like we're doing this in New York $30 million going down. Like it was all put out at the same time with a lot of promotion beforehand too. So just to like randomly announce, I don't know.
Not that random announcements hasn't been their MO
happen.
for this whole year, right? Since the last World Cup. I don't know. I'm hopeful, guys. I just want to hear something tomorrow. I think that your takes are probably more accurate, more likely, but let me dream, till tomorrow morning. I can deal with being crushed. I'm a grown man, damn it. All right. Looks like we got our next caller ready. Our first caller even for the episode. Leven, what's your kind of first impression so far this season?
Well, I woke up really early, and I was excited, man. I was like, holy, like, I can't believe this is happening. It's been so long since we've had anything. And I'm seeing all these leaks from like Hypex and whatnot on the timeline. I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing all this stuff. I don't care. I just want to jump in the game. I jump in and I was enjoying it. Like, I thought it was pretty fun. Like, I was like, holy, I haven't seen this item in so long. And like, I wanted to come on today and be like really optimistic and be like, I love this new season, bro. Like, this season could actually be it. And like, as the days gone by, I'm like, I don't know, bro. Yeah, man. I don't know. I trust Epic, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I woke up kind of expecting to be upset, right? At first, it was like this love-hate relationship. I woke up, I got to get ready for work. I didn't want to check my phone. I didn't want to see what was happening with the new season so badly that instead of getting ready for work, I went back to bed. Because I knew getting ready for work. What's up, Bala?
You can hear me, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. I don't know, Muvanji can't hear me, so I just want to make sure. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Oh, weird. Wild then. Okay. Let me make sure he's not server muted. All right, that should be fine. Let me give him a roll just in case.
I hope your boss was fine with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was definitely a little late. And I still eventually found out what was going on in season 2, and I wasn't particularly happy about it. I'm not gonna lie. Basically, from moment like, I don't know, from pretty immediately, I'm scrolling through fan-made patch notes, and it's things like, we've got an even worse SMG. We've got the heavy sniper. We've got, I mean, at some point, my eyes glazed over, and I was just like having Vietnam flashbacks, just like, what is... Oh, I don't know. I don't know if you know what that is, Leven, but it's a war that we engaged in.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. But but yeah. So that was my first impressions aren't particularly positive, but I'm excited to talk to some viewers. ! Hotline FN. Bring your takes. I want to know what you're thinking. No one's had a ton of time to engage with this content yet with these changes, but there are. Hell yeah. But there are aspects that are, we've seen before, right? Like grapplers, like heavy snipers. And the bad parts of those haven't changed. So, I don't know. We'll get into it. For now, though, we got our first caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Vaughn G, or Joel, and I'm calling from Toronto, Ontario, just like my man Shio.
Whoa!
Let's go!
Let's go. Yes, sir.
Perfect. What did you want to talk about tonight, Joel?
I think, given where we've been in the past, given where we've had, this season, it's a pretty good mix between casual and comp. Like, I think in the past, we've had some pretty, we're on Twitch, so let's just say pretty bad season for comp. And I would argue, like, from a casual perspective, that like a 4-month-long season, it was great for competitive. They were testing everything first in casual, not bringing it over. But at the end, like, I think a lot of people can agree, maybe it's due to the fact of lack of events, but it was getting a little bit boring, a little bit like repetitive. And this, I think, especially with the mythic items, is like a good like change of pace, and it caters to both the casual and comp. Because if you think about the last mythic item we had, the Infinity Blade. It was like completely game changing, like basically in Winter Royale.
That's not
like,
the last mythic item we had. We had the goldfish, and still do, supposedly.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. And but like, yeah. But I mean, the lightsabers weren't in comp.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, my point is like
everything is in comp.
yeah, everything.
Like, we're basically saying that this was the best now mix, but we went from really, really bad mix to a good mix because it was not in comp, all the stuff that was in casual, but there was nothing in casual, to now a really, really bad mix again. Like everything is in arena.
But but the thing is, yeah, that's true. But I don't know if all the things, like, I don't know. I don't even playing for, like, I don't know, maybe 6 hours, 5 hours. I think that, like, the things are livable. Like, I'm not getting, like, crapped on by
C4 is not livable.
Okay, that's true. The C4 is
you want to know why? Are you playing on East right now?
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, so everyone's on West. As soon as they get back home, right, you're gonna be like, wow, things was going so well. 7 C4s, miniguns, like infinite grapplers. Like there's no one here to exploit stuff right now. You're playing pubs, you're having a good time.
Okay.
I respect it.
I have a
your balance. You go ahead, Leven.
With C4s, right? So discount not end game, right? Early game and mid game. Do you guys think, like, I genuinely don't know if I think C4s are that bad in mid game and early game, because we just had, wait, listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. We just had a season where at the start of the season, we literally had nades that flew in from 60 meters where your only sound cue was the actual first nade hitting. We have been like, C4s are bad. I don't want C4s in comp. Listen to me. I do not want them at all. Trust me, I don't want them. But listen to me. If, like, with C4s, one, the person that throws them is within your, like, general radius, for one.
No.
Two, you actually, wait. Listen to me. Two, you actually have, like, a better sound cue than we did for nades. I'm not saying that they're, like, I'm not saying they're livable, but I don't think they're as bad.
It's, like, still not a good sound cue. Yeah, but here's the important part. Like, sure, you have a sound cue when it's first thrown. Okay, like, there's, like, 2 parts where this is bad, in my opinion, right? Like, I don't like the way explosives work in the game as it currently is, the way C4 can stack, and the ways you can sneak it into somebody's box, especially in stacked games. You know what I mean? You're up on a hill, someone a couple layers down below you, throw a bunch of C4 on the roof, heavy snipe it. They're done, right? They're done if they didn't manage to hear that at some point in all the other chaos, right? Yeah, I know. We're not even there yet. We have so much. There's so much happening. But with the C4, the other problem with the C4 is it's another thing, like the bushes, like the sniper rifles, that can just end your game for free with nothing, right? Someone puts C4 on next to a chest. You have 0 chance of knowing that C4 is there. And it's just the way people can grief your game. It's like the inverse of a baller.
Beep? Does it not beep? I swear to God, it used to beep. Before it was vaulted, it used to beep.
You know what? I don't know now.
You can explode it without the beep. You can if the person's far enough.
When it's just sitting dormant, it goes like beep beep. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're playing too much CS, brother.
Wrong game.
But the saving grace of nades versus C4, right? If I'm in a community box, like there's a bunch of people on the hillside with me, and they're side by side, we're safe, brothers. Like, I'm worried about compact SMG sprays. That's things that are defendable, right? Like, heavy sniper over there, people can jump in your box, maybe with a harpoon for walls wood. What I'm trying to get at is, in that situation now, anyone around you can be a complete threat that can get C4s into your base. You don't need a heavy sniper. Throwing 2 C4s from 10 meters away is an instant hit on the second C4. The first detonation will explode both. Yeah. If you have a stack of however many you can hold now, that's a problem. Leven, you're saying that, from a distance, they're not going to be getting hit. How many mountain zones there are where, like, King Kong sits up top and just drops dookies on everyone in the form of C4s?
I said no end game.
You're not going to hear them coming.
That's true. That's true.
He said excluding end game. He said excluding end game.
Because I agree in end game. Grenades that they're grenades you don't need to be 65 meters away from. Like, that's literally what C4s are in my eyes.
I think too that everybody forgets the fact that when you go into a team mode, you can split your C4 and throw it just like grenades.
Not as far, but yeah.
Instant 3 C4. And boom.
That's a great point. You have someone throw a teeny bit before everyone else, and they get to instant detonate all of them. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Exactly.
We know that. This is getting worse the more I think about it.
Airwax will do the mathematics to figure out the parabola to throw the
EU, by the way.
EU
injected. This is what's gonna happen. Just simply, like, I don't know, guys. We're right back to a bunch of OP items in comp with no.
Yo, dude, we have so much more of this episode to go, and sprinkling all the annoying stuff through. We can't start making blanket statements yet. We have to. we got to get there. We got to get there.
Hotline FN without blanket statements.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, a good point. All right, Muvanji. We didn't like super answer your topic. I don't know if you can't tell that this episode is a little more chilled out. I mean, Leven is literally in space right now, so there's only so much we can work with.
Well, either way, right before I go, I just want to say, I have to agree with Leven here. I think we're injecting it at Dreamhack Anaheim. I really do. I'm sorry. Come on. I don't see Benji Fishy going to all these lands and not winning. Like, there's no way he's just an onliner. I refuse to believe he's an onliner. I refuse. It has to happen. It has to happen.
Oh, Leven is eating this up. He's eating it up. He wants dessert.
I smell this W. I can smell this W from miles away.
Miles, dude. We're talking light years at this point. Damn, boy.
I'm in space, and I can still smell it. Oh,
that's great, Muvanji. I think ultimately the answer is your bottom line up front. Base point of your take here is that the new season is near perfect balance between comp and casual, and I think that's what we're gonna try to find out through the rest of this episode with the rest of the callers. So stay tuned.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
I hope you have a fantastic evening, and thanks so much for calling in.
Tell Balla just to because I know Balla works at Epic, right? Tell him to give me all the half. Tell him to give me all the half zones.
Yeah. Balla's out here granting half and halves.
Oh, what?
Booga's his favorite child, you know?
Oh, you want a half and half. Okay. You're the next Booga.
Okay, all right. Have a great night.
Goblin before the zone comes.
Peace out, Muvanji.
Bye-bye, guys.
Beautiful. Are we rolling, Balla? Are we speed mode here?
Rolling.
We're rolling.
Supposedly.
Let's go. We got our next caller in. Give me your name and where you're from.
Hey everyone, I'm Alric.
Hey, Alric.
And today I'm talking about esports organizations. I'm actually not talking about season 2. Sorry, but I've still got a pretty big take, which is about esports organizations. So basically, you may have noticed, I think it was this morning, that Mr. Savage signed for 100 Thieves. And like, this should theoretically be huge. This is like one of the biggest personalities in EU Fortnite, signing for one of the biggest esports organizations there is. Yeah, I just wasn't very excited. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the reason why this has happened is because in Fortnite, we don't have a structure where players, where in esports organizations, they aren't teams anymore. Esports organizations in Fortnite, their role is as a talent agency. They create content with players, they fund players, they send them to events, but they're not the team. In any other esport, for example, CSGO, your organization is your team. They are your 5 players who you play with at events. It's not like that in Fortnite. And I think this is a really, really bad thing. Because, for a start, it takes away a huge amount of excitement. Like, why do we normally get so excited about players joining orgs? Because we're excited to see how they perform with their team, what that team's going to look like, and how that will affect the esport. And we just don't see that. In Fortnite, in many ways, despite this supposedly crazy thing happening with Savage joining 100 Thieves, it's not actually going to have that much of an effect, and it's not going to be noticed as much as Utopia would be. Also, I think this is another example of showing how Fortnite esports is trying to design basically only to be played and not really to be watched very much. Or not as well as it should be.
I mean, I gotta heavy disagree there.
Well, hear me out, because orgs are basically just like the fact that we have these huge tournaments with thousands of players joining in and really deep prize money. These orgs are catering entirely for players, basically, and not as much for viewers and spectators. And this is bad for the overall future of the esport, in my view, because basically,
okay. Let's run with this. Let's unpack this. Let's run with it. So first kind of point I want to say, general, before I hand it off to you guys. I agree. With your someone at your door, boys.
Sorry.
I don't know. There's a murder going on outside.
Someone's dying, giving birth, or running really fast.
All 3 at once.
True.
But I agree that like you're right in how orgs operate in this scene versus how they operate in other scenes. I agree with your opinion that it is worse, but I think it's necessary. right? Like they don't get to just choose how Fortnite and Fortnite competitive works. Epic has hoisted that on us. And like for an org to exist at all in the scene, this is the way it has to kind of be, right? Like they don't get to just like,
Wait, can I
I don't know.
Can I just clarify one thing?
Yeah.
I'm talking like the thing I'm basically complaining about here is how Epic have made the scene to cater to orgs, not how orgs are. Orgs are just doing what they've been forced to do. But what I'm saying is that effectively Epic should operate the scene differently, so orgs can act as teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
No, I mean I agree with that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Are orgs doing what they're supposed to do? I feel like orgs are really not doing anything in the Fortnite space besides signing players and tweeting occasionally. You know, like I feel like we orgs and content creators and players, we could all do so much more that will, you know, elevate the value of the entire community in a lot of different ways, like beyond just, you know, tweeting a Benji Fishy clip from the NRG account every once in a while. Like, let's do things like the RBK, right? Where they will go and make content about players. Granted,
TSM.
Those videos, in my opinion, you know, weren't necessarily the best quality, but at least it was something. It was something.
I don't think that's enough.
Right.
I think that's just basic content creation.
Yeah.
And has nothing to do with competitive other than the story. Like, I did just came to mind, what if, like, you know, there's Prodigy Analytics exists, One Up Analytics exists. Like, why don't orgs give us stats, stat lines, like things, specifics that only they can have, the people watching their players from their replays, right? Per event, you know, why don't we delve into their comp standings or comp, you know, how they're progressing team to team that way? Like, you know, I see orgs saying, yo, congrats to so-and-so for second place, first place prize money. It's like, this is our player. This is what he did. This is how he differs competitively. Like, why aren't there wrap-up videos on, you know, how this person played the event instead of just highlight, you know, spaz shots every 3 seconds?
Even just
like,
imagine
that is competitive content. Like,
yeah, take analysts and coaches that are currently employed by an organization, and you have them put out like one-to-one comparative stats.
Call us.
From their players to players on other orgs, right? Where analytics can say something along the lines of like, here's the stat line in the last, you know, couple events for, I don't know, for Benji Fishy. Wow, he's so much better than Calculator. You know what I mean? Like that kind of content. Oh gosh, that'd be so rich. And we're getting sweet stats.
Yes.
And we're
imagine. It's like, you know, Ball and I watch scrims. Leven watches scrims, right? And that's just like the stuff that we can see. If each org had a dedicated person who was in love with comp, there are many people like that around there who just watch that player and just, you know, gas him up. Literally just one person per org, just the gasser, right? And we have all these different types of gases colliding, making molecules and whatnot. You know,
this guy, bro. I love this guy.
Like, that would be a dope, like, and that has nothing to do with Epic, or if Epic hosts events or doesn't, right? Like, you can do that off scrims. Yeah. And that's orgs battling it out as to who is the top org, et cetera, et cetera.
One more thing before, because I really want to hear Leven, because you actually made a video perfect about this topic. But like, think about this kind of ecosystem that we're talking about. Think about what Epic has to do, what a tournament has to do when they're casting and providing a broadcast for a solos tournament. They have to do 100 different people. Whereas if it was a bunch of different orgs making all this awesome content, making streams that are following their specific players, you all of a sudden don't have such a burden on probably the hardest job of all, which is to provide a consistent storyline from one source. But anyways, Leven made a video directly about Mr. Savage leaving NRG and going to 100 Thieves. And you actually summarized it pretty well, Leven. Why don't you talk about this for a bit? Because I think you have a perspective that we don't.
So more specifically to the Savage point, I think there were a lot of different layers to why I felt that it was necessary that Savage would leave NRG and why. Like, if you actually look at the video, I mentioned 100 Thieves as an org as like he could join, and that's because with like players, like we've seen a lot of orgs who have really stacked rosters, right? But the problem with stacked rosters is that one, it's a lot harder. I feel like in terms of what we're kind of talking about, it could potentially be a lot harder for orgs to kind of follow these storylines and promote them well. And it's like my views on Savage was that Savage is such a big brand, especially in EU, and such a big player that he on NRG specifically, he wasn't necessarily the face of their Fortnite division, right? They like we can say NRG could do more to push their players, right? But in terms of who they were pushing and who they are pushing, it's Benji, which makes sense, right? That's not an indictment on how big or how great of a player Savage is, but it's just the nature of how things were. And I said, right, look, Savage needs to join an org where he will be the face creator of their Fortnite division, and they can push him specifically, right? And 100 Thieves is exactly perfect for that.
You think so?
And I kind of, I do think so, right?
They've done a great job pushing Elevate, but like, what have they done for, or where, you know, what's happening with Cease? We see significantly less Cease.
Where's Kaizui?
Yeah, like what makes 100 Thieves better for this?
So,
you know?
I'll try like keep this brief, just because I feel like this goes into like a much deeper, like just esports and just organization conversation. But like,
sounds like a video topic.
Yeah, this is a video I'm making. So like,
spoilers.
So it comes down to like just actual like personnel and who they're picking up. Like I'm not gonna like act like I'm speaking to Savage and whatnot like about specifics, but like I know, like I can tell you for a fact, I know that the theory that I had of Savage being like wanting to be the face of an org is correct, right? And I can only see him joining a team if he knows that is a priority in that sense. You understand? So I understand why you question it, because obviously, like you said, there is the Kaizus of the world, Cease, whoever, like whoever else you want to bring. But I specifically feel like this deal they have with Savage is what they're pushing towards. And if you look at the trends within their org in recent times, just with everything that they're doing, it makes perfect sense with Savage. Back to what Arik said though, right? His initial thing. You're right. Like I made a tweet about this. Like I literally tweeted this saying, right now, Fortnite orgs are just operating as talent agencies that just salary their players. But the way Epic has set up their model for competitive, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that it actually could work in the sense that if we're doing what Shio suggested in terms of pushing players and having people that make specific competitive Fortnite, competitive content, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think Epic set up a model in which we need to have teams and have these kind of like as much as in other esports, I think it's great. I actually think there are many reasons as to why Fortnite's model is the future of esports, and I think it's actually much better for esports, because when you actually look at it, I think it's better at driving storylines than other models, right? If you look at like the World Cup, for example, we have so many people, like you come up, like the storylines of like excited player coming from nowhere, we didn't know anything about them, come up. Like I feel like it's actually like having an open format is such a great way to like push storylines.
That's because this is the first time. Like, come on, like if we had another World Cup, this would be actually.
I feel like it'd be the same though.
In general, no, but like I think that's boring. Like, oh, they came from nowhere. Yeah,
no, but you can do more than that though. But and that's
times we have to do that. But this game, because of the way that they're doing it, I feel like that's not going to be fun for the long run.
But I feel like that's where it becomes a pressure on us, right? The people in this call, and it becomes a pressure on the orgs to develop that more, right? Because we are the actual people who know quite a lot about the competitive scene, so we can go into more specifics of, hey, in Australian Open, Benji and XYZ compete, but like we are the ones that have to do more in terms of just not only having it as he came out of nowhere, right? So I think that pressure is on us. I don't necessarily think that's a problem with Epic's model.
Sure.
I think that's just on us to develop that.
Yeah, I think though it is naturally a problem. Well, you know what? Tell you what, I'm gonna do a pundit tag in here. I think that AussieAntics will probably be able to speak for the both of us much more better than I can.
Who? Sorry.
Sorry.
Wait, what? My cloud helped me jump the queue, mate. It's hitting different these days. I got straight in here. What are you talking about? No, I was chiming in on the old topic only when you guys were talking about, like, you know, there's people out there who want to do like the analytics and hype people up, and obviously that's like what all my content revolves around. But there are orgs out there looking for that. I just want to chime that in. I'm not giving any leaks out there. It's not like 100 Thieves. It's not, you know, it's not the massive ones. But I think like the mid-tier and smaller orgs are looking for that and seeing value in it. I think it's just the same sort of stuff that, like Epic, these massive orgs have grown so huge. I think to try different things is just so hard to get through the like 10 channels they have to get through to try and sign people on that different stuff, you know? I think Epic's grown to that point. They're like, this model works. We've signed these players. We sell jerseys off them, and that's how it works, you know? They've just gone to that huge company standard where some of these like smaller and intermediate orgs that really want to make a name for themselves, I've gotten some interest from them and stuff. Like there's some orgs that see some value in it. I think it's just maybe one taking that jump, doing it, and then it rewards. And I think then it will come around in a whole huge circle.
Yeah, so basically, we need somebody to be the torchbearer in this instance, and like, here's how you do it.
Just do it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I mean, just like any opportunity, right? You need someone to do it. You know, like someone's got to do it.
Even then, like I'm thinking even bigger along the lines of like we just saw obviously the Elite Cup. That was amazing. Imagine like it's, you know, it's X orgs tournament and they run a tournament, and like how much more like love that'll generate from the community towards their org for the investment is insane. Some of the salaries these guys are on, you just saw the best players in the world playing for 10 grand. If you just put up a 10 grand kitty, which is some of these players like 1 month to 2 months salary, I guarantee more people will love your org for that than just loving that player. Because that's what I think's been like lost when it comes to orgs is there's a heaps of love for the players, but if Mongrel leaves FaZe, I don't think any of the people who love Mongrel are going to be like, oh, I still stick to FaZe as my team. They're just going to stick to Mongrel. That's the thing where like other esports like CSGO and stuff, you follow the org, not the players. If you love the mid laner for, you know, C9's league team and they leave, but you're a C9 fan, you stay with C9. You normally don't follow the player, where Fortnite just hasn't hit that properly, which I think they will if they just change their tactics.
It has to do with how orgs are involved in the game, right? Like, it just...
with too many mixed orgs teams, like there's no way that's ever
exactly. Like the reason people do that because they have a team they can point to and follow the history of and the legacy of. We just don't have that in Fortnite right now. Like maybe someday, like I don't know, like I'm more likely to be a fan of like a friend group like 1x or a high IQ than I am like an org right now. You know?
Me too.
Where's the value then though? Do we think like the salaries they get paid is worth like the jersey sales and stuff then? I just feel like that's when an org will fully jump up in the value and the investment they get back. I don't know. That's what I want to see.
Sure.
That's the question. Everything that we've said so far in this call is like, that's how we increase the value for orgs. And it's upon them and us and people involved in the scene to get them to realize that and get them to but I guess we're not org owners, so we really don't know what the logistics and costs behind a lot of this stuff is, but we'll see.
I know how much a ticket to Australia is.
Concealed, are you watching? Concealed, do you want to get in here? We've had you on before.
How great was that whole situation? I'm not going to bring it straight back up, but I just love the transparency in that. I just love the transparency though. That's all I'm saying. Like I wish there was so many more contracts out there. Like how great was that when you saw the whole community just turning on someone and then them coming face forward, jumping on a stream, being like, this is the situation, and how much healthier it was, right? Like everything wasn't behind closed doors. It got brought out in the open, and I don't know. I thought that was sick.
I mean, I like the stuff being open, but I don't.
It was an event, but I think they could have been like, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's better than a Fortnite guy video, I guess.
Hey.
Most things are.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to hijack this one. That was my point on that one. You guys get back on doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much, Aussie. Thanks for coming by. Also,
I don't think we've had like this amount of amazing accents.
Okay. I mean, if you want to hang out, Aussie.
Mine is the best.
Yeah, you can have it.
Levin, you can have it.
Yeah,
Levin wins. That's fair. I'll take it, actually. But
it sounds like everybody here has a deeper voice than me right now, though, and I'm starting to get a little like, I'm just a little insecure, about it.
Oh, don't be.
So if we can say nice things about okay, thanks. Appreciate it, dude. I feel better already.
Your voice is great, Tim.
Thanks, Ulrich. Ulrich, thank you so much for bringing up this topic, giving us this great moment. I hope you have a fantastic evening.
Thank you very much. 3 out of 6. Bye.
So good.
Sorry, Tim, you had the most beautiful singing voice out of all of us. You haven't listened to Tim's song. You have to plug this more. This song is a work of art.
Stop it.
Yeah, there you go, Tim.
Oh, you. Thanks. Big shout out to AussieAntics for hopping in here. He's a bright spot in a desolate world. All right, Leven. Before we get our next caller in here, I wanted to ask you about another thing introduced here. This is something pretty interesting. So the first zone was changed, right? Another, non-documented change where they took the first zone. Normally it takes 3 minutes to close after appearing. Now it takes 4 minutes. I think does it take 4 minutes now to start closing and 4 minutes to close? I think so, right?
I'm not sure, but I was playing duos with someone and they brought that to my attention. And I found it weird because like we've had conversations, like a lot of conversations I feel like where I've listened to and seen a lot of conversations take place where people are discussing like shortening the time that zone takes and kind of shortening up that mid game. So I don't know, to see them kind of like extend it, I don't know. I've never really spent too much time thinking about it. So I really want to learn and see what you guys think about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to have an effect on the game. It might only have a slight one. And I imagine that the effect it'll have will be more pronounced in things like Cash Cups, Arena, you know what I mean? These sorts of things. And maybe not as impactful for really stacked lobbies. But I imagine what it will do is it will make mediocre mid-game engagements less painful, right? Because you just have more time to recover after disengaging, after fighting an annoying fight, whatever the situation is. That's kind of my take. I don't know, Ballatw Shyowager, have you guys had time to really think about this at all?
Don't know what we're talking about. No.
Absolutely, I
zone
agree.
time change.
Yeah.
First zone time change. Yeah, increased by a
I
minute.
think it's just good, right?
I think it's good. First zone time change, smaller first zone gives you more options at a same type of risk in terms of where you.
Did
want
you
to
say
take those
smaller
options.
first zone?
And then that's what it was, right? Like it's a longer time to get to the first zone, but it's slightly a little bit smaller. So
I guess I don't
you
know.
still
I
have,
haven't
like,
heard
a
that.
decision to make.
Do you know that for sure, or you just?
I'm gonna put it on the stand, but I know it for sure.
It's on the Shyo patch notes.
But if I heard that
the only
like,
patch notes that exist.
That's
Patch notes?
very good job, someone for patch notes.
Yeah, Hostadem. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. AussieAntics is great. I don't know why he hasn't called in yet, but
Speaking of
AussieAntics.
awesome,
Yep.
I don't want to hijack this
Awesome.
conversation.
No,
but
no,
we
no.
have an awesome next guest.
Oh
Tim.
boy.
Boy wonder.
What's your name? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Don't listen to Shyo.
Hey guys, I'm Cisco, calling from Dirty Jersey.
Oh, what's up, Cisco?
Shots fired.
That
The
is-
armpit of the
that
United
is-
States. We all know it. But we got
Yikes.
0 ping, so we're good.
all right. What do you want to call about, Cisco?
Basically, I want to talk about team-based modes, specifically duos and trios, and I think that RPGs and snipers should be brought up to 2 slots,
Keep getting away.
and that way the teammates could start like basing off their strategies and their rotations based off the loot they get, because it's so easy to go AR, shotgun, and then et cetera, you just keep on doing all this stuff, and it's just like if you have to consolidate your loadout to really carry all the big powerful stuff, then you're like, okay, maybe you can move forward and be a little bit more strategic. And then going off of that, the next thing will be something we brought up last week, which was snipers, especially higher level snipers coming just from crates. So I know the heavy snipers back. Maybe that could come back only in crate form, or we could upgrade to it.
No. We don't negotiate with terrorism. Like what? We don't go heavy sniper should be back and then say shouldn't be back and be like, it's fine to be in a crate. It shouldn't be in a crate. It shouldn't be anywhere. Should be anywhere. Where's Shyo go? Does he love heavy snipers?
I love heavy sniper. I just think it should
hates
definitely
heavy
be
snipers.
limited to 2 slots and then only in crates. That way you could, if you see it on the map in a crate, you play more strategically through that. I know
I
Shyo's
just
gone.
don't really think that the Shyo's changing his batteries on his headphones, so he'll give it a second. But he walked away because we called somebody a terrorist. I don't know what we did that.
Good point. I'm sorry.
Heavy
I
sniper is
apologize.
basically terrorism. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, heavy sniper is basically terrorism. So here, look. The team modes with the heavy sniper. Do you guys actually see like an instance where the heavy sniper is a team weapon? Like to me, it's like
Double
I'm gonna
heavy
get in,
sniping.
and then we're all just gonna spray like double heavy sniper. Yeah, I guess. And then, but you're never
Yeah.
gonna get like double crates and double heavy sniper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. That's
So
true.
I don't necessarily think that's a thing, but I also think just like putting it into 2 slots is already good enough.
You think
right?
so?
With RPGs, with heavy snipers, I think it's already probably good enough. Because that's a lot. I don't think people understand how much that is.
That is a lot. It's huge. Like that's
especially
that's
in
big.
duos and trios.
Yeah, you're giving up a lot. Well, it probably means a little less in duos and trios, right? Because you just have more people to hold the important utility. But like I don't. Oh, that was the couch.
I swear.
Promise. We promised that was the couch. That was Levin's space fart.
It wasn't the couch, guys. I can confirm it wasn't the couch.
Nobody listen to these guys. Yeah, I just don't think that. I think that even taking up 2 slots is not like enough to be able to just end games with the heavy sniper the way you can, right? I don't care as much about the getting into boxes part. Like I don't care as much about basically anything other than the. Whoa, that was wild. And
If I may retort real quick. just
yeah.
The idea that, all right, so if we have harpoons, right? Harpoons, heavy sniper, RPG, all in 3 slots. That
Yep.
You are getting 2 ways into getting into someone's box. A harpoon and RPG is already broken. Then a heavy sniper and RPG together. Now imagine a team-based mode where it's trios, for example. All 3 of those have those options.
Yeah.
Getting into someone's box, getting into a team box. It's pretty foolproof.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think buffing of the slots would be easier way to consolidate that.
I agree. I think that like if they're gonna make changes, that's a totally awesome change. I just don't want it to exist at all. Let me hear you, Shyo.
I love when this guy disagrees.
Okay, so when it comes to like you're talking about double slots and team modes, right? I think that double slots and team modes require absolutely less thinking. If there's an RPG, just pick it up. You've got 15 slots in in total with trios. In solos, it makes the most type of decision-making restrictions because that's a big percentage of your total inventory loot pool. When you go up to 15 and you're only taking up 2 for maybe one RPG, even 4 for a double. As long as someone has room for a shotgun, can have a a mini mule that carries up all the minis, all the heals. Like he can just walk around, stay alive, right?
Yeah, but you can't walk around with 4 snipers. You can't walk around with 4 RPGs.
Who carries 4 RPGs in trios?
I'm just if it was this season, they would be.
I mean, you could have like an explosive operative just carrying a double RPG shotgun. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think in trios it makes that much of a difference. No, seriously, especially with mini throwing now. Like, seriously, you could.
No, everyone
has minis.
I agree with Cisco, right? Like, it does make a difference, right? The difference is that if everything takes 1 slot, every single person on the team can have a rocket launcher and a heavy sniper, theoretically, right? Everyone on the team can have ways to get in a box in games. This way, it's more likely to be 1, maybe 2 people, you know what I mean, at a time. I don't know if that's like
it's also
good
less
enough,
about it's less about like restricting the like making it take up more, but also just like making you have to take less because you have it.
True.
I don't know if that made any sense. He apparently understood.
Wait, say that again for me. Say that again for me, please, boss.
So basically, it's not about the fact that the item takes more slots. It's about the fact that since it takes more slots, there's less of other things to take.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So it limits what you can totally have more so than the item being the two. That's the
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That was good. Yeah. That was good.
Yep.
No. That makes sense. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah. Leven, you got anything you want to add there? I think that let's use. Sorry, go for it.
No, I just really am sad that we have to even have this discussion about heavy snipers and all of this rubbish. Like, it just makes me sad. I wish we didn't have to.
Yeah, I agree, Cisco. I think that would be a fantastic way to approach balancing. I think the better way would be to make it so it doesn't one-shot people.
Yeah. I mean, traps are removed, so you never know. Anything else could be removed.
Right? Oh, we need to get into that. All right, thanks so much, Cisco. Yeah. Thank you a bunch for bringing this topic.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.
Bye.
Ballatw Shyowager, have fun at Dreamhack.
They can't hear you right now, but I'll pass it on.
Oh, pass it on. See you guys.
Got it. Peace out. Thanks for calling. Leven, that's another thing we got to talk about, right? Is that traps, man. Traps are gone. At the same time, we're getting all these ways to get into boxes. Like, wait, what? Are you kidding me?
Nah, I'm not a fan, bro. Honestly, like my biggest problem is just the fact that like one thing I liked about traps, as much as they had their problems, and I think that maybe we needed conversations to happen about traps, right? But I don't think the solution was just removing them completely. And the biggest reason is just the concepts of traps themselves. It's like it adds another mental game to box fighting. Like you can be thinking, hey, I want to get in hard, right? But you have to think, he might have a trap. It's about playing that little kind of mental game.
Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I literally said on Twitter, I was like controller players are the best players in the game now. They don't have to even think about, am I gonna get trapped if I jump in right now? I'm just gonna jump in.
Yeah.
And like I had a lot of pros come in my chat and were like complaining, mouse and keyboard, of course, right? They're complaining like, remove skill gap, no more. And I'm like, that's where you're coming from.
Like, damn side impression.
No, it's not. No, it's not my jump side impression, bro. But,
do you think that controllers have it the easiest or hybrid players have it the easiest?
Oh no! Oh, you're trying to get
yeah. I think that's a topic coming up. Let's roll. We ready for the next? I mean, what do you guys think about traps? You guys have comments on traps being removed. Like, what do you give me one liner? Ballatw, are you happy traps are gone?
No.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nerf not gone.
No, I'm not happy because I feel like they were necessary. I needed them nerfed, but I think they were necessary.
I don't think they needed to be nerfed, but I guess it's neither here nor there at this point. Hey, we got our next caller. What's your name?
Hi, I'm David. I'm from Milan, in Italy.
Ooh, in Italy.
And I would,
exotic.
And I would like to talk about how much better now is fighting off spawn, and you want to do it on online qualifiers tournaments.
Oh, why do you think that? Please explain.
Yeah, so basically the main thing is the new 5 POIs are so broken beside the ship one because the AK is not that good compared to the other items, where people will be so much rewarded to land there and getting a bunch of kill of fun, because of course those places will be contested on online qualifiers, and that kind of loot will give you so much more advantage in the mid and the end game compared to like a normal person where spawns on 3 chests, you know.
I mean, so...
and the thing of 4 minutes per zone will make the fighting Ospawn even better, because you have 1 more minute to gather materials and take better fights without having to rush people due to zone and not getting punished because of it.
Totally. Okay. Yeah, I think so. The crux of the new POI issue, right, comes down to a mix of you think it'll be decent because there'll be plenty of people to fight, and also you think the loot's particularly good, right?
Yeah.
I have a weird, like, I haven't dropped there enough, right? It might be a retail row situation. But I'm always kind of wary of these kind of arguments, because it could also just be a tilted situation, right? Where, yeah, a lot of people land there, and yeah, because a lot of people land there and it's a big POI, you'll get a lot of loot if you end up winning it. Like any contested POI is going to be great if you win it. And if the argument is simply this place is great, if you win it, then it's like, oh, that's almost anywhere, right? I guess I just haven't spent enough time in it.
I think that's probably, like, we're more leaning towards that than a retail situation, just because retail is like shareable by like 3 different teams, and
yeah,
you would leave with those 3 teams and then 4 more teams would come in. Like, that was a little over the top. And because all the loot respawned, because there was a certain amount of pylons that came up and how much loot you could get and how important the loot was at that point in the game. Like, right now, loot isn't, sure, it's important, but it's not, well, I don't know how this season is going to pan out, but last season, basically, the loot wasn't the most important thing in the game. But as far as the rest of the comments about like early game, I think, sure, definitely helps. And it's definitely interesting too, because now we have just more spots to basically contest. And I think we needed more of that in the map. I think especially in solos, especially in duos, these smaller team modes, you kind of needed more space to work with. So I think early game all around is a positive because of these new spots. The one kind of dynamic that I don't think we've talked about yet at all is the factions and how that actually plays into things. It won't in the long run because people will figure it out, but right now, like, my question is still, like, I don't know. I tweeted a couple times, like, does the faction I choose actually influence my early game drop spot? And I think the consensus was yes, it does,
but not
I
that
have
much.
no clue what it's actually affecting.
Yeah, there's like doors you can open quicker or open at all, but you can break the wall anyway, still, like that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know.
All the people were like, no, they don't make a difference. I'm like, yeah, that makes
a difference. Yeah, especially in a contested place, right? Yeah. I don't know, Leven, what are you thinking?
Bro, like I was watching Myth have like a 12-minute conversation on stream about like the Team Ghost versus Team Shadow, and I was like, holy crap. On top of all of this stuff, I have to actually think about the faction stuff. And it's true, like the people saying it doesn't make a difference. No. It makes a difference. In the long run, will it make a difference? Like Ballatw said, we don't really know. Like I sort of like it in a weird way, but at the same time, then I realized that if they're basing some of these things off of like challenges that are done by like the whole game, like it could be really messy and could get a bit frustrating to where like you might have your drop spot be a bit different next month just because a bunch of like PS4 kids did a challenge.
Yeah, but like that's the Fortnite we know, right? Like that's the Fortnite, like we're used to that.
Yeah. You know, whether it's the PS4 kids who did the challenges or not, the map changes and that affects everybody in the same way, right?
Here's an interesting thought. All the new POIs, except for like the center one, most of the new POIs are all around the edges of the map, right? Does that give sort of a hidden secret buff to getting first circle, right? Like a more condensed edges, you get zone, you have more to interact with while you wait through that first zone. Like it's not like a lot, but I think it's something worth thinking about. I mean, you can't control whether or not you get that first zone, but I think it just having more places to go that might not be empty, you know, versus just kind of twiddling your thumbs and waiting around in first zone. I don't know, David. These are
on that thought too.
Yeah, this is what we got. This is what we got.
I just want to say one last thing very quickly.
Yeah.
So I feel like if a Clicks or Monger or a crazy skilled mechanical player, which WK is a lot, gets and wins the spot of Middle Island, for example, which gives you the drum gun, like he's gonna do like a stupid amount of points that game.
That's true. That's true because the
And the
mythic
same-
items, yeah.
And the same with the grappler. The grappler is so powerful in endgame. Imagine just floppering around, like having 6 floppers plus the grappler.
God.
The grappler.
God.
Like,
The grappler,
You are
the grappler,
you cannot die.
the grapplers,
Grappler and
Yo,
floppers.
the grapplers on the boat, right?
Take a breather. Take a breather, bro. Take a breather. It's good.
Wait, I gotta clear something out.
How far can you stretch the wire before it snaps? Because
Yeah.
like, the wire was stretched last season too. Like Slurpee, Craggy, Steamy were all pretty OP compared to everything else. If you're landing there, you're getting a mythic drop spot in a sense compared
Yeah.
to someone landing.
Because it's guaranteed, right? The mythic item is guaranteed in
else?
each of these POIs, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah.
I know. It's,
And there is only one for match. Only one
Yeah.
item for match of that item.
It's not
Yeah.
just like it's also not just the mythic item. Don't forget, there's like the super chests that spawn a launch pad pretty much every single time that are in like the vault or whatever, like in the guaranteed drops and stuff like that. It's not just one mythic item. It is a whole good set of loot, like a lot of good loot. So just keep that in mind too.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got like weird POI extensions to the underground bases, like in Pleasant. I know there's more that add a little bit of extra loot too. There's interesting things that mix stuff up. I think we're going to be seeing. I expect lootlake.info is going to be playing overtime in the coming week as people are trying to plan out what the hell it is that they want to do right in this season, because there's a lot. And I think that, yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm glad that a lot of those POIs are on the edges now, given that at least you're sacrificing something to fight over these great loadouts. And that's another thing. If people are contesting the mythic spots, that moves a lot of players out around the edges in any given lobby, right? You're taking everyone away from Sweaty, you're taking a lot of people away from Craggy, so on and so forth. They may end up being too strong, and those items themselves may be the problem. But I think it kind of opens up some breathing room maybe throughout the rest of the map, which, I don't know, just more sort of scavenger paths and
Can we all just agree? Can we all just agree that if we see the guy with a grappler, like I know colluding's allowed, but can we all just agree if we see the guy with a grappler, we spray him and like leave the grappler like
just like the gentleman's agreement to shoot all the ballers?
Yeah, yeah. Can we do that?
Shoot the asshole with the grappler. Get that guy out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much. Was it David?
Yes.
Thank you so much for bringing this topic. I hope you have a fantastic evening.
Have a good night, bro.
Oh, I kicked in the middle of his thank
Perfect. Look at that transition.
Whoa, it's amazing. Hey, we got another caller already. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yo, what's up, man? My name is Bangarang. I go by Dusty Nunn or Caden or Bangarang. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
That's a lot of names.
That's how they do it in Omaha.
And there's more.
He said there's more.
There's more too, but we don't have all night. So.
Boomerang.
But yeah, Omaha, Nebraska.
Timmy.
Shout out Lupo. I want to talk about hybrid players, and kind of how. Is it a meme or is it going to be like a legit strategy? At this point, I think it's kind of a meme. You know, you see the clip of Tom, hopping out of the bush, beaming the kid.
Bumper.
Yeah, the bumper, spraying the kid with the P90 or whatever. But then you have players like Bucky who are actually like kind of using it. And the more I like think about it, especially as someone who like plays mouse and keyboard now, but played controller my whole life and most of this game, like, could it be a legit strategy where, you're boxed up in third zone and you need storm surge tags and you grab the elite controller and
I think the main
L2 it a little bit.
Yeah, I think the main blocker right now, the main reason we don't see more hybrid players right this second, I think it's a hardware issue. We need like solid lanyards that hold the controller down in front of your chest, you know what I mean? To go right from you can get like get those warm-ups in, get really fast. That's the whole thing.
Again, what are you doing? I don't know.
You're playing a keyboard and mouse. I didn't go into your controller.
Like right in front of you.
Inject the controller. Play it. No, I mean, what are your thoughts? Leven? What do you think about controller? Hybrid players.
Honestly, bro, like I want to watch more hybrid players because, like you said, like right now, like it's jokey thing, but it's like it's almost like you see like when people joke about like how AI is going to take over the world and like soon robots will control over us. Like what if hybrid is just that? Like we're all joking about hybrid now, but like what if like in 8 months we're all hybrid players, and if you're not hybrid, you're losing.
The hybrid is the singularity.
Yeah,
Logitech and Sony would love that. Every pro player's got a mouse and a controller. Like, let's go double dip it on this. I don't know.
Final controller. I'm
marketing genius.
We're bringing you the next best controller from the moon.
Ever. It's the greatest. You'll be ascended if you use it. I promise.
Honestly,
Final mouse marketing drives me up a wall.
I might start making lanyards, bro. Like that might be like the thing, bro. Like people need good lanyards to like hold their controller.
Hold their controller. I know. That's what I'm saying. They got so it's a lanyard. It's a lanyard, but it's got like a hard plastic piece that holds it out. You know what I mean? Like those stations at Walmart. You know what I'm saying?
No, like that genuinely is a thing, bro. Like any orgs trying to like do that, bro.
Get a hardware deal going. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, bro.
Shyo, you got any thoughts on hybrid? What are you thinking? You thinking it's a meme? You think it's gonna stick?
I think that playing hybrid is tough to do. Like you need the drive for it. Enough people don't even play Fortnite, even with the new season out. I still see Mans on Tarkov. Don't know what's going on. When it comes to playing hybrid, like knowing when to switch to it is good. My only issue with the lanyard strat is that if you pull that lanyard back fast, you're pressing L2 and R2 on your stomach. If you're a man of my physicality, times that you don't want to. So putting it on the side, having like a holder for it above the keyboard maybe might be the wave. Like I don't know what's going on. Levin's the hardware expert, so you'd have to ask him. I think if you're playing hybrid, you have an advantage over everyone 100%. Epic Will is my favorite person to watch, who I think has perfected it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He? Like I actually like
he gets to the point where he takes it out in box fights, and if he has to, he'll rotate with it for a few boxes as well. That's the key. It's that level of hybrid where everything off spawn is keyboard. Yep. After fourth zone, it's literally 50-50 keyboard, mouse, and controller.
Yep. So like imagine unknown. Imagine unknown doing it, because we've seen unknown pop off.
A hybrid player is my question. That's
is
he a hybrid player, or is he a person who knows how to play controller and how to play mouse and keyboard?
He's that.
He knows both, but
he's not a hybrid.
He's not a hybrid. Both of those, you can become a hybrid player.
With his aim assist in his bones. I think that's it. I think if you get to the level of proficiency with controller where you can tunnel, where you can actually make a rotate with it and be good at that, because like let's be serious, the rotation is when all these guys are really fragging in terms of the controller prowess and the aim assist.
Other instance, having a compact SMG in a box. Epic seriously will stop. Like he will drop the mouse and keyboard and just W or left control stick up, and that's an win. So, yeah.
And now people are launching, so.
Launchpadding,
yeah. So there's way more potential for that now.
Yeah, we do have launch
when
pads.
They have the Mythic 8K.
Oh, Mythic 8K, like Mongrel's screaming his head off. Holy.
Oh my God. No, I can't go that loud because we don't have any sort of compression on this mic.
Don't do it to us. Yeah, all right. I think it's just kind of something we have to see borne out. Is Epic Whale playing hybrid tomorrow in Anaheim?
At LAN?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh boy.
We're gonna need just like a recording from a couple desks over, just zoomed in on his hands when he makes the swaps.
No,
we're right behind him, my friend.
What do you think we're doing? What is our job here? That is literally what we're supposed to be doing here.
Hey, you're the one who didn't know.
A quick zoom up of his.
Yeah.
We can't zoom in.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bangarang. I really appreciate it. Thanks for bringing this topic.
No problem. That was fun, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Peace out. All right, Leven. Here's something I've been wanting to talk about a little bit, because it's a sentiment that we always see when updates go sour, right? We see the sentiment often. Just adapt, right? This is how Fortnite is. It's like the classic just adapt argument, right? But I always feel like you always have to address it kind of head on, that like, yeah, adapting is a skill, and it's, Epic has made it clear time and time again that they want adapting to be a major portion of competitive Fortnite. I don't know if that's changed or not. It doesn't seem like it, whatever, right? But having the desire for adapting to be a skill doesn't excuse poor design, right? Like poor design is still poor design. telling players that they need to adapt, over that poor design is just nonsense, right? Like you adapting is a skill when those things are well thought out, right? But when it's things like we've already had issues with, like random unique items in the game and grappler and heavy sniper, C4, these sort of problems, it feels weird. It feels just like shoveled on us almost. Like, all right, adapt to this next. But like we already talked about all these things. I already talked about them to death. They suck. Like, I don't know. What's your take there, Leven?
I definitely agree with you, man. I feel like I found myself doing that as well, where I was just like, guys, like I was telling people, I was like, guys, come on, we've been through this, we've been through worse, guys, come on, we'll just get through this as well. Like, yeah, it's rough now, it's first day of the season, but we'll get through. We always have, we've made it this far. And I was like, why do I have to do that? Like, why do I actually have to do that? I shouldn't have to do that. Like, why? Like, yeah, we need to adapt, but at the same time, like you said, there's times when it's like, come on, Epic, come on.
We've done this. We've been here. Yeah.
We've been through this, man.
All right, we got our next caller in here. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is J-Mock, and I'm calling from Louisiana.
J-Mock, how's it going? What do you want to talk about tonight?
What's up? Okay, so I'm wanting to make the opinion that personally, I do not believe that any mythic items belong in competitive playlists, and that this meta isn't the worst that we've had, but it caters far too much to controller players. And reason being is that with the removal of traps, even if you're like a high ping player, I'm gonna like sidetrack real quick. I think that this update single-handedly benefits high ping controller players more than anybody else in the game, because high ping. I would say so because, and I'm not talking about like obviously zero ping players are gonna benefit regardless, but in terms of like comparing last season to this season, if you're a high ping controller player, like if you see like Wavy, Jacob, and like Unknown Army, they have zero ping. They'll take your wall and then hit you with an ADS pump. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a linear high ping controller player, you can kind of just get in without the worry that this guy has a trap and just like track them perfectly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like that's kind of horrible.
Getting in someone's
honest.
Yeah,
what are you confused about? I don't get it.
Why is high ping?
Because
I'm talking about like it's not a benefit for high ping players alone, but they benefit the most in terms of like comparing like going from last season to this season. They like
okay. So it's like a comparison, like last season.
Yeah, I'm comparing last season to this.
Anything. Now high ping can get into boxes and still do fine because there's no traps.
Yep.
So really, it's nothing necessarily to do with high ping.
No.
That topic.
Okay, that's what I was.
So I'm saying it benefits everybody, but going from previous seasons, like if you're a high ping player, you should be like pretty happy. Like you no longer have to like take a wall. You can exploit it and not have to worry about this guy placing a trap.
Having a way out. Yeah, you don't need to take a wall to stay safe because you can commit to the 50-50 with no real fear. Yeah.
You're gonna get in. You're gonna kill the guy, even if you lose a lot of health. You're still gonna kill him over the fact like where you're not gonna die afterwards because he placed a trap.
Yep. And the fact of the matter is
there's a reverse.
Reverse.
No, like there's the reverse of high ping players saving grace was sometimes when getting pushed the trap because any type of peek they're taking is going to get a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So as happy as I am, sad boy hours as well. Like,
it goes both ways.
Benefiting controller players too. Like I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't disagree. I think there's so many things. Traps being vaulted, drum gun coming back in. The
inject.
Is there a new syringe in the game or
no? Like controller, inject controller.
Okay,
like
guys.
Unknown Army.
And I wanted to bring up the thing about trap removal is like a lot of people will make the argument that like traps were just like this like skillless way for bad players to like get out of a situation they put themselves in. But at the same time, like if you like VOD review or like watch Kanata or like Nosh or somebody that's like mechanically gifted, like they'll be so aware, and it adds like sort of like this like extra skill gap of like trap awareness and playing around
piece
traps.
Control, all of it. Yeah.
Like Kanata in every single cash cup, every single time he had traps, he would play around them and make so many of these like solid plays that you do not see like even like above average players doing.
Yeah, I mean,
let's make just like this like
like, let's make it like pretty clear, right? Traps were the punishment for the bad play of jumping in someone else's box, right? Like they were like the guaranteed punishment. It's what said this is a bad thing to do because they might have a trap, right? The second we had the ability to guaranteed phase tricks, so many seasons ago into a box, the trap was immediately necessary, right? Because you couldn't hold a wall. You couldn't react to a wall being taken and jump out because you own all the other walls. No, they can just get inside when they want to get inside. The trap was the punish for that, and now we don't have that. Now you either have to preemptively run away when someone tries to when they just try to phase in, you got to run because they might win a 50-50 that they're forcing, right? Or I'm not a big fan. We talked about
I personally don't think they should be vaulted, but they shouldn't have done 150 damage. Like a nerf where it does 75 to 100 is fine, because like 75 to 100 damage is still a good chunk. Like that's a lot of like chip damage. That's like more than chip damage. Yeah, you can finish a fight with one shotgun shot out to that. So I don't understand.
It is that default traps, so we don't need to talk about it anymore.
I don't understand what it is with Epic where they go from like one extreme to another without trying anything in between. Like you have Chapter 2 Season 1.
It's marketing. It's just they react on their marketing. They react on their surveys. They react on everything, and they just like legitimately. There's no answers that marketing can tell you. You should nerf something rather like, okay, there are in some instances, like if they ask the right questions, but a lot of times the questions they ask are, do you enjoy this or do you not? And a lot of times
it's like sort of a yes or no thing.
Instead of like say, just get out of here because people, don't
like
it. With it. So that's basically that answer. Yeah.
And it doesn't even apply to just traps though. It's like this whole, like the whole history of competitive Fortnite. It's like, you go from season 10 to where there's like every form of mobility, every step you walk, you can use some form of mobility, to chapter 1 where it's like the most vanilla playing game in the world, and then you flash forward to this season, and then it's like you had launch
it's all against the wall again.
There's like all these.
So I mean, let's not disparage it, right? Like I want to make it clear, like so many of the changes are great, right? Like I'm happy to have launch pads back. I would have liked them, in a slightly different form, but I'm happy to have launch pads back, right? I'm happy to. All right, well, that's the only one I got off topic. Leven, what do you think on this topic?
To the controller thing, I was having a conversation today with someone where we talked about like the percentage, like I don't know the actual numbers on this, but like what are the actual like percentage of players who play on PC with a controller, right? Now go back and look at all of the recent events we've had since like FNCS finals and see how many events controller players have been winning. And like, does that scare you?
That comparison.
That's like, like, is it telling or does that matter? I think with the way this season is looking and with how it looks like things are just catering more and more towards controller players, I think people are going to have that conversation a lot more now. And it's a bit, I don't know. Like I said, man, controllers are taking over the scene.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
It really is sad.
Controller.
I mean, like, and I have nothing, like, one of my best friends is a controller player. Like, I have nothing personally against. I just think the mechanic of aim is just, I
agree. I agree, though. Shyo, what's that take?
Shyo, you make a point? No, Shyo, you do make a point. I get what you're saying, but, like, just looking at all, like for the ones I can remember off the top of my head, Elite Cup matters to me because I actually thought Elite Cup was great. Controller player won that. AO, a lot of people say it's not compliment, and I agree, but look, controller player won that. FNCS was unknown. His squad won that, like flipping Winter Royale, the controller players winning that all over. Cash Cups have been winter.
Yeah, Shyo, which recent major tournaments are you talking about?
Listen. Cash Ups and Winter Royale to me are not majors at all. Like they don't have a step qualifying process.
Okay, so what recent events do qualify on for you?
Literally FNCS squads for me.
So unknown squad?
Is the only one where.
But hold on, like unknown squad. How many?
One. It was just one.
One controller.
That's true.
FNCS Trios was Calc squad that won. And like cross regionally. I mean, I'm thinking about NA. I think even cross regionally, FNCS Trios did not have a controller player in their winner. Middle East did not have controller players in their winners. In squads or in trios. I know that for sure. Like this is the confident ones I know, but like. All the major ones, the qualifiers, I think like in semis and quarters, some controller players might dominate, but when it comes to those end lobbies, like yet to be seen.
Here's my take. I think right now we're not there yet. I think we will end up being in a spot where controllers are going to take over if aim assist is not changed. I really do. Because we're going to continue to get these people who are all of a sudden super proficient at building, tunneling, doing all this good thing, multitasking, good decision making, like all that stuff is going to come with these controller players that are coming out now. And then like a year from now is basically where I say it's over. Like they're taking over completely.
I don't think they have the experience and game sense.
That's why it takes a year.
No, I don't think like. But
inject the IQ.
These guys are just going to catch up and surpass the KBM players who've played, who have CS backgrounds.
I think so.
Who have
because,
team-based backgrounds.
Think about what the skill ceiling really is, right? There's building mechanics, and aim. Aim is like
I know aim is huge,
biggest thing.
But if you're like these guys have had so much time in so many different adaptive metas to get those building mechanics up, to get that decision making.
Have they though? How long is?
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with Shyo and agree with Balla in saying that if you give controller players a year to truly learn the complexity of the game, they will start dominating like these 2-3 round tournaments.
Building is a counter.
A year in the same meta, yes, I agree. But the meta changes every 2 months.
But the building is a counter
like,
argument doesn't mean anything when they continue to add things like jump guns and C4 and so on and so forth, right? Like,
I forgot about the news. Never mind. I forgot about the season update today. Disregard everything I said.
Just disregard it all.
What I want to say though, my bad, Leven, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
What I want to say though, to back up like me agreeing with Balla, is that like you say like well they've already had 2 years to like learn or whatever, but like you gotta admit controller players, like a lot of controller players used to be pub stompers for the longest time, even like up and towards like until after World Cup. A lot of these like really good controller players like mechanically did not get competitive, and you have so much information than you did before. Like if you lack game sense and you blame it on like there's nothing to blame it on. There is so many top players that stream, upload, Balla uploads videos.
Yeah, if you
like,
don't want controller players to take over, everyone here has to stop making content. Right now, today.
It's already, it doesn't matter.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't.
But like not even you guys. Like you have all these top players streaming that you just go and watch their stream, take notes, and you learn how to play the game that way. There's no excuse for none.
Controller players now where they can look up to, and it's somebody they can really model their game after, and
also with the increased prevalence of like a bunch of solid coaching in the scene right now. Like I watched Levin's video, said if you're a good player and you think you have any sort of potential whatsoever, invest in a coach. If you have Wavy Jacob, who like some people look at him like this like stupid like typical controller player just knows how to W key. If Wavy Jacob goes and like has a session with somebody that really understands the game and he gets like an even better grasp of how to play endgame, and then you combine his like mechanical ability with what he just learned, he will dominate an FCS solos type format. And like that's just my opinion. I think there's like no way. You know?
I think it's an opinion that we can't test without seeing it bear out. But it is something that everyone who enjoys playing on mouse and keyboard is worried about, right? It would suck to be pushed off of the more one-to-one, input, and be forced to rely on things like aim assist when you don't want to, right? Like for a lot of us, that's not as fun, but I guess we'll have to see how things go. And in the meantime, keep cranking. Thanks so much, J-Mock. I really appreciate you bringing this on, man.
You guys.
Have a great one, dude.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks, J-Mock. Peace.
All right. We got our last topic for the evening. Are we how's this rolling, Paul? Is this how it's rolling? This is how it's rolling. We've got for the second time today in Hotline history, we got 5 people in the call. We're making it happen. We've got Infamous and we got Somebody's Gun Taylor. Who's going first? What are we talking about?
I think he left that to me. So I'm talking about how go ahead. How the mythic items are good. It's similar to a Halo setup where you know where the weapons are. They're in known locations, and unless you're in the top left, you're only going to get one of them. So it's going to create different play styles and different types of ways to counter them. In solos, they're going to be quite overpowered, so not sure how I feel about that. But in team modes, I think it's going to create a very interesting meta that we'll see and provide a new twist to the game that I don't think it's going to be as bad. Like, obviously, they release things overpowered at first and bring them back. That's typical Fortnite fashion. I think we'll see them a little bit tweaked down in the future, and it's a good way of adding these mythical items that they've been trying to add into the game for the entire history of Fortnite without them being absolutely ridiculous. As well as it's gonna, like, David, I believe, from Italy, talked about how it's going to create more interesting early game battles because you're going to be fighting for those items, and it's going to provide more of a wide variety into the early game as opposed to everyone playing for late game.
This is I don't know.
And now you know why I wanted him to go first.
I don't know what this. Let's let Infamous. Okay, yeah, bring it, Shyo.
All right, Infamous, rock it up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
Give us the other side, Infamous.
Well,
give us your take.
Personally, I think
let's set the dogs loose.
Ring the bell.
I think that
Round
the mythic items are a bit ridiculous. So if you've played with them, you know that the fire rate is insane. Okay, first of all, we have the Scar, the Tommy gun, and the minigun. Those three have like insane fire rate combined with higher damage. And they're just absolutely insane. Not to mention, if you get the Scar, you automatically get the grappler. It comes with it, right? So, like, that's already, like, I'm not trolling. That's the top left of the map. If you get the Scar, you get the grappler, too.
He walked off the moon.
Leven walked off the moon.
He's done. He's done for. He's done for. All right, Shyo, you ready? Shyo, ready to go in on this?
So in reality, I'm just gonna say real quick. In reality, just to finish off my point. Sorry, Shyo. But in reality, instead of 4 even corners, we have the top right for controller players for the AK. We have the top left, which is overloaded and basically tilted. We have the middle, which is tilted now because of also the changes with the bus, where apparently I think they might have changed it to where Speedy Gonzalez's suggestion, where the bus always goes through the middle in some form. I think they implemented that because I haven't had a bus that hasn't gone through the middle. So we have like the tilted in the middle. We have the tilted in the top left. We have the controller player hub in the top right. And we have 2 other random tilteds in the bottom left and right.
Oh,
it's
no.
Just a mess. It's insane. And all of these items are ridiculous. Like none of them, except for the AK, which is still an 88 headshot, they're all pretty much ridiculous. So like I can't see a world where you justify the items at the very least in their current state staying in the game.
That's that's pretty convincing to me because that's been my thoughts. Shyo, what are you thinking?
Ready? Oh, all right. I mean, you guys have basically, I can see now, been scammed, hoodwinked, and bamboozled. This is a reskinned package. All right. We've seen this happen in season 10, where retail existed, a literal mythic drop spot that turned your whole game OP. All right, we had Pandora, free shields out the wazoo, and we had all this stuff existing at the same time. I forget what the other one place is guaranteed you pumps over and over again in Tilted Town, an insane amount of ammo to start your whole squad off the game. Right? We've been here before. We've seen how it works. Taylor's saying that, or somebody's done saying that fresh balance for early game. Oh, wasn't it, my friend? Wasn't it cool watching people just walk around with full gold weapon 17 launch pads, fighting for that in the early game, maybe off spawn for 10 minutes. Then the whole rest of the game's integrity kind of ruined. Whoever lanes retail staying first place if they don't get griefed. Like, it's happened before and it doesn't work. We've been there and seen it. I feel like this is just a reskin of it.
Yeah, just like with the heavy snipers, right? Just like with the C4. Like, we've been here. Like, this doesn't feel good. When who's gonna drop Salty? You know what I mean? The only reason to drop Salty would be because, or like literally anywhere that's not one of these power drops.
That's
now. Even something like even something like Craggy. That's true. But I'm just saying, like in a competitive situation, like you just feel bad if you have to drop in any of these places that aren't one of the super drops, right? Like, and there's I don't know. It feels weird.
How it works, yeah.
It's weird,
bro,
man.
If I catch anyone at Holly Hedges, I'm like slapping you up, bro. Like, why you landed there? Like,
why are you here?
Like, you're stupid.
What are you doing here?
Oh,
especially with the like changes to fish, where slurp fish are coming quicker and that kind of stuff. Man, like some of these POIs are just gonna be bonkers.
I don't know. Like it's a decision still, right? You still have to decide to land at that spot. If you aren't, you might be throwing or not. But it's not that I don't agree with you guys, but I just don't necessarily think that this is exactly the same thing. I think this is going to play out a little bit differently, right? Because there's 5 spots, and all of a sudden, sure, these guys might be very powerful, but now it's 5, I don't even know how many it is. Maybe it's more than 5, all coalescing and fighting each other, and you could kind of track their progress throughout the map and stuff like that. Like,
but then what happens to the other like 95 players? You know what I mean? Like,
no, but what if we all land there? Like, land there, and then it's 5 teams in the end game.
Second zone, 5 teams.
No, I was gonna say, but I don't think you guys were in the call when I said this, right? But like, if we like all just come together and say, "Hey guys, let's watch the guy who got the grappler." Like, let's all kill that guy. Like, let's all get that guy.
Fortnite players playing sensibly. 11. Wow, that's definitely never been tried before.
Like
collusion? What's that, bro? I don't know what that is, bro.
Are you saying people are gonna optimally play for endgame with no incentives?
Can't count on these players for that one.
Okay.
The one where EU loses.
Before.
Guys. Dreamhack is this weekend. All this, we don't do all this. We just perform. That's what I'm saying.
I just want you to know that all the EU players got banned from West Prac because they made the practice really bad.
But the thing is, but this is why the joke is, right?
Wait, if you made West Prac bad, yikes.
But why did we, like, we should have expected this. This is, guys, come on. If you wanted to know what was going to happen when you added the E players, you should have asked me. I would have told you don't add them. Like, there was no point. Like, you should have asked me. Like, I would have told you don't add them.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All of our viewer base is just gone. Thanks, Leven.
Sorry. They know I love them. Practice, no, but
Taylor, you have anything to crack back with? Because it seems like it's a room full of people against you.
I know you got knocked out.
Oh, that's all good. I come here to chat, but it's like Ballatw said, it's 5 spots, and if they kind of lessen the power of these weapons, it's going to create a different style of play that I don't think we've seen yet. If you're a Fortnite purist, yes, you're going to hate this because it's not going to be exactly what you want with pure mechanics and, you know, everyone going for the same style of play, but it's going to develop into different styles. If they throw, maybe it's a grappler and then the harpoon becomes a mythic weapon where you can grab certain things and fish. I don't think the current state of them is perfect, but I do think that there is a place for this.
Let us upgrade. Let us upgrade to mythic rarity. Then center zone drop.
No.
Then center zone drops have parity, right? Because they're close to the center map. They don't move as much. They're not as contested because everyone's contesting these 5 crazy drops. They get to spend time farming. Bam. I mean, I don't want the mythic weapons at all, but bam,
I want you to realize something real quick, that there's not only the mythic weapons at these places, right? We're talking about a vault that you also get with every single one of these places. That I've been in these vaults. Okay, let me tell you what's in the vault. That we were talking about minimum 2 chests. We're talking about we're talking about minimum 2 chests. We're talking about like 4 of those new like case chests, you know, the big ones that have a bunch of stuff in them. We're talking about an airdrop. We're talking about a bunch of like slurp cases, whatever they're called. You know, like I don't know what they're called. But
where are the vaults located?
They're like, so when you kill somebody at the like that has one of the mythic weapons, they also drop one of these key cards, and at like the little island that you're at, there will be a vault that you open with the key card.
So and if you're not contested,
it's really free, and also that vault has an immediate portal to the mainland.
If you're not contested,
of course.
If you're not contested,
it has a portal straight to the mainland when you're done looting.
If you're not contested, is it possible to get a key?
If you're not contested, is it what?
Do only players drop keys?
No,
to the vault?
The boss drops keys. So the boss
okay.
and the key.
The players would be way too hard and sensible. It has to be
there's a boss that has like 400 health, and you just it's an AI. It's really bad. You just shoot real quick, it dies, and you just get everything.
Jeez.
It's just like a normal henchman. I'm not kidding. It's a normal henchman with no health.
What's happened to my boy Leven?
Do you guys see that?
What?
Do you guys see that down there? This is what we call a slippery slope. This is what we're going to be going from, mythic, I'm getting used to it. It's fine. Vault items, so cool.
Sword!
Guys, Infinity Sword's coming. Shit.
Bro.
But it's all good. Because you got to kill AI.
It's all good. There's 5 swords.
So like,
I can't do that. You know what? The grappler has infinite charges. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's so bad. That's so bad. It's so bad.
The recharges shots. It has 5. It recharges. It has infinite ammo.
Hey, that's a nerf. That's kind of a nerf from before.
A little bit, because the shotgun.
It is. Because no, back it up, Infamous. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta explain myself now. Because before, you didn't have to wait for a recharge if you shot 5 shots. You just have 20 shotgun ammo, and you could just shoot 20 shots. Now you have to wait for the ammo recharge. So it's nerfed a little bit.
Which psychotic individual shoots 5 shots and more?
No,
the guys who grip in your games. Like, what do you want from me?
100 headshot a guy from like
Bro,
100 meters
what I did
away.
with the boom bow back when it was in whatever, I just built the biggest mount.
Oh no.
Oh my
There's some
god.
scary stuff, man.
Oh, no.
This game is so dumb, man. Like I was streaming it, and like some guys that I used to play with, like back in like season 6, joined my stream, and they hadn't seen Fortnite. They've not seen anything for like 4 months, and like they just saw someone jump in the toilet. They were like, "Leven, what is this?" I couldn't explain it. I literally just was like, "Bro, like I don't know what to tell you. Like it's just game, man. I love it. I love it.
Is yours.
We love Fortnite. We love Fortnite.
I love it, man.
I do love it. It's annoying. It's the classic issue. Yeah, let's talk about Dreamhack. Ballatw Shyowager, give us the rundown. What can we expect to see from you guys tomorrow? What should we be looking out for? What's happening? Give us the Dreamhack. What do they call it?
So tomorrow's setup. Tomorrow's day 1 setup, and then heat 1. So there's gonna be two like open heats, which is basically a cash cup for everybody who is playing at that time, who's checked in, and that. I think it's top 200 will qualify into the next round, which we played on Saturday, right? So tomorrow there's gonna be heat 1, then Saturday morning there's gonna be heat 2, and then Saturday afternoon there's gonna be like the finals qualifier. Huh?
The semis.
We can call it the semis.
Do we know how many total players are playing?
No, I
hundreds.
Estimates is close to like 800. That's like estimates based on Dreamhack Sweden, basically, but I don't actually know. So yeah, from us, we're going to be walking around with our phones. We got a bunch of tripods.
Let's go.
We're going to be walking around with some mics.
Stick mics.
We're doing player interviews.
Guest appearances as well.
We got
on the
live
stream?
max. Yeah, we guest appearances.
You guys
We'll
have
have
those
a bunch
live
of,
stream backpacks?
No, we don't. But Shio might, set one up real quick. We never know.
Yeah.
Depends on what we got to do, because we don't know if the Wi-Fi is going to be good. We don't know like a bunch of situations.
Probably won't. Yeah.
We don't know what kind of access we're going to get.
Wi-Fi won't be good.
Wi-Fi will be good. Please don't wish
Manifest.
bad luck on us.
Yes.
Manifest.
So-
Kitty plays top. Manifest.
Manifest. If you inject it enough, it
manifest
will
with
come
Wi-Fi.
true. Leven, obviously you're over here, EU on top. Who do you think's taking? Okay, obviously we can't say who do you think. Who do you want? Who do you most just want to take home that first?
I like that. I like that question much better than who do you think's winning. I like it a lot more.
Who do I want to win? Who do I really want to win? I want Benji Fishy to win Dreamhack so badly.
Yeah. The kid's
I
just
want Benji
so
Fishy to win.
marketable.
Everybody agrees.
He's just so darn marketable.
I want Benji Fishy to win so badly, just so that I can shout like my head off and nobody can say it. Like, how do I think it's gonna play out? I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see like the heats. Like the heats are gonna be like. I really want to watch it, so I hope I can actually get to watch this. But like, I think the heats are gonna be really fun. I think we're gonna see a bunch of the NA controller players dominate, and I think the finals will just be like a slugfest of just like it'll be just even better than Elite Cup in the sense of like, oh crap, like this is compared to Fortnite, man. This is sick. So I just want to watch anything.
It's kind of the cool thing about these open formats is we get to see essentially like Cash Cup style play and like stacked play back to back and see who like failed to prepare properly, right? Like there's a big difference in qualifying and playing live. And normally we see that over the course, like with World Cup, we saw the course of 10 weeks and then finally got 6 games of that high competition. So it's cool to see it all boiled down to this one weekend where we get all of it. I'm pretty excited about that.
I think this is like proving grounds for basically everybody who, did well in Cash Cups and has claimed to be like one of the best players in the world, like Unknown Army, like
Wavy Jacob,
Kanata, Wavy Jacob, Rex, for example. Guys who have been just like Cash Cup kings. Benji Fishy, of course. Everybody's like, yeah, they're the best player in the world, but They need this acceptance. They need to do this. They need to win one of the hardest tournaments in a long time to really get that acceptance and really get the community to be like, yes, 100%, unequivocally, Benji Fishy is the best player in the world. They need to perform well here.
Yeah. Shyo, who do you really want to win?
Macwood, man. Macwood or anyone who's like in the top 20 on West are like my favorites. That'd be really cool to see any of those guys because I'm like just heavily invested in watching them. In terms of like who do I think will win, it's going to be a lot easier to call Saturday afternoon before semis. I think we can actually I think that'll be the best time for analysis. Also think Saturday is going to be the scariest time and the most anxious time for a lot of people. Yeah. Especially in the morning. That I think the most stacked games will be that Saturday morning, more so than even the finals and the semifinals.
Interesting.
People will
it's last chance. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's going to be no more limit testing. I think Friday might see a little bit of, monkey business here or there.
Yeah.
But Saturday is going to be like, okay, this drop didn't work out that I tried for the last 2 months. I'm going back to my OG spot and playing tight. So yeah. I think Saturday is going to be the most fun Fortnite we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. I agree. I agree completely.
West players because he needs them to keep his career.
all right, Balla, who do you want to win?
Right now, I think I resonate with like pretty much all these picks, but somebody I've been wanting, I just want to continue doing well is Xor. That's kind of who I've been putting a lot of my weight behind before this tournament, just because he's been doing well since forever and he's still doing really well. It's not a news story or anything like that, but since basically right around World Cup, after his wrist issues, it kind of fell off a lot, and people were not considering him one of the best anymore. But he stepped up. He got 3rd at the Elite Cup. He got 7th at AEO. He didn't do too well at Dreamhack Sweden, which hopefully this is a redemption story.
Didn't he do decently well in FNCS though?
Yeah. He won FNCS trios and was second.
Decently well. I don't know. I mean, this guy's over here talking like he was washed since World Cup. He's over here placing in everything he can place in.
No, but like that's the thing too. Like we're going down a different road here, but FNCS, like nobody puts any merit behind them because nobody watched them.
And then there's, especially with that trio, a lot of talk about who carried who.
Yeah.
So I think internally they have a lot to prove to each other.
So my pick, I would love to see. I like Xor. I'm a Xor fan, so that's like my second. Same. I would love to see Calculator win. I love a good fuck the haters storyline. Oh my gosh, if Calc took first, that would be a joy and a half. That would be amazing to me to see.
Bro,
Twitter would be such a good place to be.
Too.
Twitter would be such a good place to be.
We get to interview him, and he's just going to talk so much.
He's going to talk so much trash.
Be the Fortnite stream. So
he's going to. Oh, you guys are going to have to like keep him under TOS lock and key.
No, you know what we get again? We get a second look at Calculator's like demeanor at LAN. Like
demeanor. Okay, yeah.
Last time it was like this. You remember?
No, it was like this, bro.
Oh yeah. Sorry, like this. So
shoot them in the head.
So let's see, is the swag gonna change since World Cup? Who knows?
All right.
No, that really got his
stoked.
True.
We stoked about Dreamhack. We're stoked about well, mostly Dreamhack is the big one. Hopefully we get an announcement soon. Maybe they don't want to overshadow Dreamhack with their own competitive announcement. That'd be cool.
True.
It's huge that Dreamhack, of course, Dreamhack isn't being played on the new season. So like I want to just watch new season gameplay, but I think that this is really important. It's kind of like what the work in the last season has paid off for a lot of these players. I
get it. I get what they did. They added the minigun and the mythic items so people would want to watch the good times. There's no podcast. It's 500. There's no. Wait, never mind.
Shyo Balla Insider. They're funneling views. Let's go. They're the ones.
Put up from half court there.
It was all along.
From half court.
I am the last mythic.
Yeah, but it was half court on the hockey rink. Like. All right, Leven. Why don't you tell the people a bit about what you're going to be up to in the coming weeks, month, and where they can find you getting up to it?
Look, I'm going to be doing a lot more streams, posting a lot more content on YouTube. I just had to talk Fortnite, man. All of this, everything we've just been doing here, just talking Fortnite, right or wrong, just learning, man. And I think there's these guys are so off point, bro. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of education to be done, man. Like I realize that there's a lot of things that I've had the pleasure of having a lot more insight about to do with just the scene, and I love to like share my insight with people. So you can catch me on Twitch, catch me on YouTube, catch me on Twitter, tweeting unpopular opinions, DM them to me. Man,
yeah.
I'll post a few more.
That's a great series too, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, it's great. You would be surprised how many of those are like pro players as well that are like just mad.
Can you leak?
I'll leak one. There was one that I did where I said where it was people who say cash cups are bad are fucking dog shit. That was Benji fishing.
That
was Benji.
That's actually sick.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
man.
A lot of those are like pros who you wouldn't even expect. So it's
amazing.
Series,
that's actually so good. I like that a lot. Yeah, if you've got a take that you're trying to try it out, a little bit before Hotline goes live, DM that shit straight to Leven.
And I can sneak my own ones out there as well. No one will never know.
No one even knows. No one even knows. All right. Thanks so much, Leven. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. I hope you have a fantastic evening. I know it's late out there in outer space, so sleep well with plenty of oxygen.
I'll try.
Make sure the low grab stays on.
Bro, I'm done, bro.
All right. Bye. Oh, the space is still here. Shit. Everything's fine. All right, Shyo, you're here. Shyo, why don't you tell us a bit about what you're going to be up to and where people can find you up to it?
Gonna be on Ballatw stream, my stream, mobile streaming, that Dreamhack gameplay / casting / coverage behind your shoulder and on your laptop screen. So tune in, twitch.tv/Shyowager, twitch.tv/ BallatW, follow twitch.tv/Shyowager, or the other one, whatever. That's
Perfect.
We're gonna be at Dreamhack for the whole weekend, bro.
Perfect. When are you guys going live tomorrow? Do you know? Do you have an idea? A
So
ballpark?
tomorrow is, 4 p.m. PST, so 7 p.m. Eastern is when the first heat starts. That's when the games start. That's when the queues open and you can start queuing. So we'll go live around probably 6 Eastern.
Ooh, potential earlier test stream for those who have notifications on.
Ooh, Noti Gang for the test stream.
Twitter, and Noti Gang for Shyowager's Twitch, Twitter, and Tim's possible Twitch, Twitter as well. So you got Noti Gang on, ain't gonna be announced. It's gonna be a test stream.
We're gonna watch party Ballatw and Shyo chat, and we're gonna steal all of their viewers.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good, man. Steal all the things.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Shyo. I really appreciate it. Have a good night. Fuck! I almost had that. That was almost so slick. Got it. All right.
Blocked you out.
All right, Ballatw. What? So obviously this is huge. This is happening, this weekend, starting tomorrow. What else you got brewing up? Are you kind of just focused on this and getting home?
This is it.
This is what's happening.
Same exact. It's gonna be great. We're gonna be behind the shoulders on your laptop. You can find an early test stream at twitch.tv/Shyowager, Noti Gang, something like that. Blah blah blah.
All right. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. All right, thanks so much, Ballatw. Thanks for co-hosting from Anaheim. Thanks to Shyo for stepping in. Hope you have a fantastic time out there.
We will. Hope you have a good time, Tim. Bye-bye.
I will. These freaking weirdos. All right. That's episode of Hotline FN, everybody. That's episode 22. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, or watching on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Viewership helps. Likes, retweets, subscriptions, follows, those help even more. So if you've got that little bit in you, throw it at not just me, not just at twitch.tv/TIMMCD and similar on Twitter, but share that same love with Ballatw, with Shyowager, and of course with our awesome guest Leven2K. These guys put a lot of their heart into the content they make, and I want more of it. That's why I support it. We don't really have any housekeeping, so that's it for now. Look forward to another Dreamhack Anaheim related guest next week. Should be super exciting. Catch someone fresh off that, that LAN high, if you will. That'll be great. As always, thanks for watching Hotline FN.